Okay, hello everyone, welcome to this Unreal class, and in this class we are going through basics of Unreal Engine, and we will see Unreal Engine in a VFX perspective. So there is a lot of content that you are going to learn in this section, and I'll go through step by step. So first thing is, this will be a 60-minute lecture and 15 minutes will be your Q&A. So you can ask any questions you have during lecture. If you feel like you have some doubts and questions, so you can just note it down, and in the end of the session we can go through that. I will share my screen directly and you can see on this TV, and so if you have any concern, then you can just ask me in the last of this session. So introduction is basically, in this class what we are going to do is we are going through the Unreal Engine user interface. Most of you might be coming from different softwares like Maya or Houdini, and first time you are using Unreal. How many of you are using first time Unreal Engine? Okay, so most of you are new, and so I want to give you a quick brief introduction of what is the user interface, how you can navigate, what are the windows available in Unreal Engine, and we'll also go and understand the terminologies behind Unreal Engine. Okay, so and since Unreal Engine is a gaming engine, it's primarily designed for designing the games, but since we in HQVFX we are using mostly like films and movies work and VFX work, so we want to utilize Unreal Engine capacity inside film production. So we will understand how we can fit Unreal Engine inside VFXPipeline, and with this concern we will go through in today's class we will go through the lighting and rendering, and there's a third step which will be our lighting, rendering and camera setup. So these three we will cover in this class. Okay, so before I start, let me give you a quick brief about myself. My name is Rajiv Sharma and I have 15 years of experience in VFX for films and TV, and currently I'm working as a founder and chief technology officer in HQ VFX Private Limited, and also I'm a senior technical instructor in HQ VFX Academy division. So you can find out more in our website hqvfx.com, and let's start our session. So our lecture goal is we will go through the user interface overview, and we'll also cover the lights, types of lights available here, and we'll also cover the types of cameras available in Unreal Engine and what are the render settings. So at the end of this class you will be able to render a finished product from Unreal Engine, and you can use it for compositing and editing, whatever purpose you want. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to straightforward share my screen, and there is no further slide available here, so everything whatever you will see that will be live. Okay, so to start Unreal Engine, let me start with that. So you want to download Unreal Engine. First you need to create your account on Epic site. So once you have your account on Epic site, then you can able to download the Epic game launcher. So I will show you how the launcher looks like, and I can quickly show you where is the Epic. So if you go to Google and type for example download Unreal Engine. So once you go to download Unreal Engine site, and here you need to sign in first. So once you sign in, then you are able to download, but it will just give you option to download the launcher, and launcher is an application which is provided and very useful and interesting application that's make you that give you more features. So since I have a already an account here, and so we will log in here and I will show you what are the features here. So once you download Epic game launcher, the size is almost like around 100 and 200 MB, not in GB. So most of you might be thinking like, okay, this is what the Unreal Engine, but that's not true. So this is just a bridge which will connect you to the Epic game sites, and then all the binary files will be downloaded through this. Currently there is no offline installer available for Unreal Engine. You need to go through Epic game launcher to connect through the Epic site and then get the installer. So in my case I already downloaded, and let me just log in here. So since while it is logging, let me start Unreal Engine. So in this class, we are covering Unreal Engine 4, and recently Unreal Engine 5 is also released, and Unreal Engine 5 having a lot of new features, and we will cover in our separate class what are the differences between 4 and 5 and what is the advantage. But most of the projects currently in production, they are still using 4.27, and that's why in this class we are going to go through the only 4.27, which is the latest version in 4 series. Okay, let me start create a new project. So once you come and create a new project, still logging here. Once it will log in, let me try with new Wi-Fi. It's some sort of Wi-Fi issue here. Let me disconnect and connect again. Okay, anyway, so let me come to this, and once you start Unreal Engine, and so you will see the Unreal project browser window. So in that browser window, you will see your existing projects that you created recently. And since I was working for this class, and so there are some sample projects here. But if you want to create new projects, there are various categories available. So there's a game category, film category, architecture, automotive. So it's a wide varieties of places where Unreal Engine is utilizing these days. Now for us, for just give you a better demo, I will go through one of the game project, and inside game I will just pick, for example, let's just play blank, and then once you select blank or whatever category you selected, what you will see the project setting. And in this project setting, most of the time you will just keep it default. You don't need to change anything. But sometimes if you want to do things in C++ and instead of blueprint, that you can select here, or you want to enable the ray tracing and all, that you can select here. So while we are seeing this option ray tracing, I want to add one thing before we jump inside Unreal Engine UI. See, Unreal Engine is a very resource hungry application. It's require a decent amount of capacity in your system to run smoothly. So while what I'm saying this is, your hardware configuration must meet the minimum requirement of Unreal Engine. So for example, you should have at least your processor must have quad core with 2.5 gigahertz speed or above, which is these days mostly almost all processors are supporting that. But if you are using dual core or i3 processor, it is very hard for you. You will struggle a lot if you are trying to do that. So try to match the minimum requirement which is suggested by Epic in the Unreal documentation. And whenever you want to go through, you need more information about Unreal, it's the best place to go. You can go to the documentation, official documentation site, which I will show you in a minute here. So hardware requirement, your processors must be quad core and 2.5 gigahertz and above, and you must have 8 GB of RAM. So 8 GB of RAM is required if you are using Windows and Mac. But if you are using Linux, then minimum RAM requirement is 32 GB, and that is based on the Epic site and the Unreal specification which they say. Okay, but in our case, let's say what I'm using, my system currently is well equipped for Unreal Engine. So here you can see the performance you can show. So I have Xeon CPU, which is almost how many 8-core CPU, and RAM is 64 GB, and I have a Quadro RTX graphic card which is 8 GB memory. So apart from CPU and RAM, you must have GPU, powerful GPU in your system that can support the most of the part which engine required, because it's not just CPU which is powering the Unreal Engine. So you must have the GPU also, because there are a lot of functions which is separately happening on the GPU side of the system. And so in that case, you must have a decent amount of GPU with enough memory, GPU memory in your system. Okay, and recommended cards are RTX card if you want to play around with real-time ray tracing features. So that is really cool, and we'll show you all this thing in this session. Okay, looks like I'm stuck somewhere here, but just leave it. And so now let me just create this project with all this default setting. I'm not enabling the ray tracing at this moment, and this is my class 1. So this is my class 1 and I will just create a new project. So once I will create new project, it will start Unreal Engine. And one more thing which I want to start here, since most of you are new in here. So if you first time install Unreal Engine and if you start Unreal Engine, so what will happen is it will take a lot of time to start that, and there is a reason behind that, because in my case it just start quickly. It doesn't matter what hardware you are using. First time it will take time because Unreal Engine will compile the shaders and it will compile all the settings for first run to actually perform better. So in that case, you no need to think in like a first time if you are using, and if it is taking a lot of time, and most of the time is stuck on 45%. And you will find a lot of Google searches on that, like my Unreal is stuck on 45%. So if it is your case, so don't worry about that. All you have to do is you just need to wait. It will take your high CPU uses and maybe the RAM uses and GPU uses, but it is compiling in the backend. It is doing some backend processes. After some time, it will compile and it will be ready for you to use. It's a big engine and a lot of file to compile, and that's why it needs some time to actually digest all this information to give you a best result. Now come back to the interface. I just started a blank project, and here you will see a windows like that. So once you see, so let me cover one by one. So in the center area, what you see, this is your entire area where you spend most of your time, because here you can interact with this elements and objects in your scene. So this is kind of your world where you see all this stuff like say chair, table and all this stuff. You can select things, you can move things, and we'll cover in just quickly. Okay, so now the thing is, here we have basics. So here we have place actor, and place actor is, you need to understand what is actor here first. So most of the names which you see are like Cine camera actor, visual effects element. Here also, even if you don't see the word actor, but in the end they are actors. Okay, let's say if you pick any of this like a point light, and if you put the point light here, so the point light will be your actor in your scene. So whatever things that you are viewing in your scene or in your map or in a level, that is act like an actor. Okay, so these are performing, these are visible on your viewport. So in that case, so here basic means there are some basic stuff. It means like say little bit of cube and sphere, the basic shapes are there. That will help you to set it up the basic framework for your scene. And then we have something like lights, which we will cover in detail for that in a couple of minutes. Then we have cinematics, visual effects, and so in short, what I will say is there are set of presets available here. There are so most of the things, whenever you want to add into viewport, add into your scene, you can just pick it from here and drag and drop in your scene. So that will be handy. So place actor window, you need to understand that. So in case if you just accidentally close this window and you might need to add back, so what you can do is go to Windows, and in the Windows you can just simply go to layout, load layout and default editor layout. So once you load the default editor layout, your window, whatever windows you accidentally close or whatever settings you change, that can be easily come back. So that is very handy. Now here, whatever you are seeing here, this is your toolbar, and in this toolbar you are seeing some settings like save, modes, content, megascan, and all this stuff. So in this toolbar, once you make any changes in your viewport or in your world, then you can hit save current. So once you make this save current, that means your current world or current map is gonna save. But most of the time it is recommended, if you want to save your scene, you, instead of saving this, let's say if you created a new level, I don't want to create but just ignore for a while, but I want to show you because here I just created a new level, a new map, and you can see this is star here. So star asterisk sign, when it comes, that means it's a new element added in your scene. But if I hit save current, see, it doesn't matter, it is not gonna affect this part, because this will remain unsaved. So it's better to actually come here and click save all, or maybe you can go file and save all. Once you save all, then your entire project file will be saved. Since we are talking about the project files, let me cover one more thing. So now this is our viewport, this is our toolbar, and this is our world outliner. So in world outliner, whatever things you are seeing in your viewport, that will be visible in your world outliner. So for example, I have chair, I can select here. If I have a statue, I want to select, I can go the statue. If I want to zoom to the statue, I can double click here and I will zoom to the statue. If I want to zoom to the chair, I can just select. Even if I don't want to double click there, so there is another option where you can select chair and press F. So once you press F, you will go directly there. So this is very handy because most of the time you are out of the space and you don't even know where is your characters and all. Then you can just immediately press F and you will directly reach to that. Now, since we are seeing stuff in the outliner, there are a lot of things that you can do in outliner, which is something like organizing your content in folders. So here you can see you can create folders like new folder, and this is my, for example, HQVFX folder, and this HQVFX folder you want to add few content, so you can just select and place it here. So as you can see, now my two contents are I added here. Even if you want to add lights and props and meshes, whatever you want to add, you can add here. Okay. So now the thing is, with this is helpful and handy, but it is not going to create a group, but it is helpful for turn on the visibility on and off. Okay, something like that. Now we'll come to the details tab, and in the details tab, once we select any object or actor, and we can see the properties here, and we will see these all properties in details once we will start doing the lighting. Here we are just covering the user interface of Unreal Engine. And one thing that I want to tell you, that because we have a kind of a time restriction here and my focus is more on to give you a brief of lighting, so I'm not covering any minor details of all these buttons and all. We will cover this once we will actually dive into the project. So my first idea is to actually just to give you a first level of introduction of how this user interface looks like and what are the some sort of usability of what window is doing what. So here we have details, and in this detail we will change the value. So for example, let's say if we want to change this location, so we can change it from here also. So you can just drag and drop, or you can just take it like reset to default, so it will become to the default location. Very handy, and sometimes it is very useful when you want to change things in a very accurate way with the exact values. Okay. Now we have viewport, and before, since I say that this is the viewport and here we are seeing a lot of things, I will show you more options like all of these once we will open our lighting scene properly. But navigation is one of the important part, like how I am navigating through this. There are multiple options that you can use. You can just simply use your keyboard and mouse combination, or you can use any joystick. So joystick is also fully supported, but make sure you are using the Microsoft one. It is working straightforward out of the box. You can just simply play around with this. That is helpful when you want to track or set up the keyframes in your cameras. Okay, so now the thing is how I am rotating that. So you can just press Alt and then your left mouse button to actually move through this viewport. Then you can use right click to actually zoom in and zoom out. So something like that. Then there is another advantage. There is another option to interact inside your viewport, which is you can just press the right click and just press that, and then your W key, WASD, and that you like a gameplay mode. You can just simply navigate in your viewport in a way that you are playing in the game. So here you can see that speed is much higher here right now because you can control the speed by this speed button here. So you can just reduce it to something like 2 and then again press the right click, and then I'm much slower moving things. So now with that you can easily navigate through that. It's simple, it's not too much complicated, but it is all comes with the practice. The more and more you will do the practice in the viewport, the more comfortable you will be. It's like same way, the logics are same. It's nothing complicated. Okay. Now I can see there are a lot of helpers are visible, or there are a lot of icons are visible here. These all icons are related to any objects or whatever things related here. So for example, static mesh don't have any icon because static mesh is visible properly. But here we can see the reflection capture actor, and in this require some sort of visibility, like okay, I'm presenting, I'm already available in the scene. So this is something like a location which is providing us. Okay. Now, most of the time when you are developing or creating your scene, and you don't need to see this. Okay, so once you set it up the reflection actor, once you set it up like say play restart, then your task is finished. So once what you can do is you can press G. So once you press G, so that will be hide from your viewport, and you will be in the game mode. G for game mode. Okay. Now, once we press the G mode, and then viewport wise, I guess we have already covered. Now, let me come. Here, I need to move something in the viewport. So to move that, what we can do is we can select the object. By selecting is just simply go and left click and escape to just deselect. Select, and you want to select multiple, then you can press Control and select. So with that, you can select multiple object, and you can just press Control and click again to deselect that particular item. So once we have this object and I want to move it, so I can just press W, and just you can see these three arrows, and these three arrow red, green and blue. So these are represent as a X, Y and Z. And Unreal Engine, the up axis is Z axis. In Maya, up axis is Y axis. In TDS Max, up axis is Z axis. In Blender, up axis is Z axis, right? So in that case, Unreal is actually the up axis is Z axis, but thanks to the import FBX import process, where all this conversion can be automatically handled by Unreal itself. So, but now just to understand, so up axis is Z, and we can just move into up direction by changing the Z. And here you can see X, Y, Z, the Z value is changing based on that. Okay. So once you move that, then you can press RE to rotate that, but rotation will not visible here until we make some scale. So you can press R to scale and then E to rotate. So now I'm rotating this, and you can see it's rotating. But one thing that you notice, that when I'm rotating, it's rotating in 0, 10, 20, 30. Why only 10, 20, 30? Because there is a snapping option which is attached to this. So here you can see in rotation, there is a 10 degree of rotation grid angle is set. I can change it to 5, and then I can just smoothly rotate that. Or I can just change it to 90 degree. If I want to straightforward, just rotate once in a one particular angle. So that's also helpful when you are creating some sort of some sort of scene where you want some exact rotation, and that will be helpful for you. Okay. So snipping options are available, and we press WER to scale, rotate and move. But also you can press a space bar to toggle all this thing. So that is also one of the tool. And then if you want to, anytime if you want to delete anything, you can just simply delete, and it will remove from your scene. Now, since we select two objects, control, you can select, and then what you can do is you can just right click and group, and Control G also you can press. So once you make group, that means whatever element you will select, it will be selected as a group, and you can both objects can be moved at the same time with your move translation button. Okay. So now the thing is, even the scale will work in a way, so both will be scaled properly. So once so this is handy when you have the similar objects and you want to move or you want to play around with any types. If you're done with the grouping, or sometime if you want to just scale one chair, not both. So what you can do is you can just right click here, go to group and unlock. So unlock is not removing the group. Unlock is basically just unlock for some time, and then you can press R and scale up and scale down. So that is again very handy tool to actually control and organize your scene. You can also make the parent-child relationship from World Outliner. That is, let me show you this. So once I will move this, so this also should move. So to achieve that, so we have one chair and another chair. All you have to do is you just select this chair and drag and drop to this chair. So now this chair is parent and this is the child, and I can just move this and both of my chairs are moving in the up direction. You can see. Now the thing is, if I will move this chair, if I move the child, then parent will not move. So child is free, but parent, once parent will move, child will move. Okay. So now if I rotate this, here, so that will not rotate, the parent will not rotate, but if I will rotate, I will just remove the snapping. See, if I rotate, both will move. So in that case, we understand this is very important when you want to move things together. So for example, if a camera you want to attach with a person, or if anything that you want to attach with something that is having their own local rotations and all this thing, then it will be much more helpful. Since before we move to the next portion, in the last, I will say I want to tell you that what is the world transformation and the local transformation, which is also very important to know for you guys. Okay. So world transformation is, so this is the right example here. Let me just rotate a bit to show you in a better perspective. So here we can simply see these both chairs are, one is up and one is actually kind of a tilted chair. So if I want to move this chair in up direction, can you see this arrows, this blue, red, RGB? This is your gizmo. So this is showing in a proper world direction. But if I change it to right click here and show it to local, there is no difference. It's same because we haven't changed the rotation. But if I select this, and you can see this cursor, and now if I move back to again to world and local. So this is world, this is local. Local means now my object is rotated, and what I need to do is I need to move the object to the same direction which is the object is available. So here you can see. So with that, sometimes it is important because you just need to change the axis, or you need to move the object into their local axis, not the world axis. Okay. So this is important, and this part is definitely one of the thing that is, once you will be dive into that particular situation, then only you will understand. It is not gonna be like all the logics we can cover, and and these options we will cover once we will actually start the viewport part. Before, let me just quickly show you what is the content browser, and we'll understand what is the folder structure. Okay. Content browser. So content browser, see, typically you are coming from different applications or whatever applications, they are working like they have a file format. For example, Maya have .ma, Houdini have .hip, and all this application, Blender have .blend file, Photoshop have PSD file, and once you save your scene, save your file, it just store everything in one location, right? So all the softwares they store the files in one single file, and all the dependency they merge into one single file. Unreal is having a separate strategy. Unreal is a gaming engine, and gaming engine depends on, like, there are a lot of dependency, references, assets, files. They just store in location in your drive. So there are advantages and disadvantages. Advantages is you can edit things very easily, you can move things easily, but in fact it is not recommended to actually move your projects manually in the file system. It is required, it is mandatory, or it is something which is recommended by Unreal Engine to use. If you want to move your projects from one location to another location, use Unreal Engine, because it's actually analyze all the references, all the dependencies, and move it properly. Okay. So now the thing is, if that is storing all your files in your file system, then we need to understand what is the file system of Unreal Engine. I will show you what is the file system. So content is the folder structure, but content is the place where you can browse all the content. So imagine this is just like a file browser. So it's a file browser where you can see all the files. So right now, let's say if I create new folder, so you can create a new folder and let me name it like HQVFX. I just name it HQVFX. I want to see this in the location. I can just simply go and say, okay, browse in, show in Explorer. So once you show in Explorer, what you can see here, this folder, and this is our class 1. So once we see our class 1, here you can see these are the folders created. So so in front of you, I just created this folder, nothing else I added, and you can see immediately these folders and these files are created. So you need to understand first these folders, what is these folders and what is these files. So first thing is, config files contain all the configurations of your project. Content folder contain all the textures, materials, your assets, FBX files, OBJ files, and whatever things you imported from other applications. That is the recommended folder structure for that. Drive data cache, immediate and saved is handled by Unreal Engine itself. So you don't need to create this, Unreal will automatically create it. Okay. But time to time you need to clean this, because that is, once your project is finished, it's better to actually delete all these 3 folders, and you can just save your content config and your U project file. So U project file is your Unreal project file, and there are three types of files you will see more often in this: U project, U asset, U map. So U project is your project file, U asset is your asset file, and U map is your level file. Okay. So inside content, maybe you can see this is the U map file, which is our new world. See, you can see this new world here, and once we will start creating some assets, then we will see the U assets files, or maybe in starter content, blueprints. So you can see all the blueprints are U assets file. Okay. So the interesting thing here is U assets file and all these files, you can't edit it manually. You need Unreal Engine to do that, because these are these files can only be understood by Unreal. And now there are settings and configuration, but these you can actually edit. So this is simple text file. These are the INI files, and you can just simply double click and it will open in the text editor. So you can just double click and it will show you all this configuration that you can easily read and do whatever. Similarly, you can also use this U project file. Let me open the notepad, and I will just simply drag this file here, and you can see. So this file also you can edit, but same time, let me go and take this UMap, and if I open this UMap here, and you can see this new fancy language, I cannot understand that, and machine can understand that. So this is the machine language. This is the compiled binary code, which program can understand better. We as a human cannot. Okay, so I guess this is the files and folder structure. Now come back to the engine again, and here we have the content browser, which will helpful because most of the time, let's say you want to search for assets, or you want to search for grass. So you can just simply go into content and type grass, and it will automatically show you whatever grass assets you have. So that means we have textures, we have material, all these things are ready in our scene. Very handy and useful while we are using some of the scenes. So for example, it's also, you can just simply drag and drop here, and you can immediately apply the shaders or materials to your scene. See, it's that much easy. You can again drag and drop to the viewport, and here it is, your scene is fully ready with grass. Okay, but that's not what we want in this. Let me just move to our main agenda of our slide, which is, so we covered the Unreal user interface. Unreal is a very huge application. It's a big application, and you need, lot of patience and time to understand the each and every functions. I would highly recommend that keep practicing the user inside Unreal Engine, explore more in the UI, and once you start doing any projects, then more and more you will interact with the interface. You will be comfortable with that. But I guess all the basic stuff I already covered in the UI part. Now let's move to the lighting section. So in lighting section is, what I will do is, I will just create a new level. So once I will create new level, that means I'm creating a new map. You can say map, you can say level. These both are same. Okay, I'm creating new level, and this level will be blank level, and I will create a new one. So here we go, and since it's showing grass, you can just simply say now it will show all this. Fine. but where my level is saved, actually I don't want this, so let me just close, let me create new level here. So new level and press F2. So you can press F2 to rename things here, or you can just right click and edit or rename. You can do this here. So we mostly prefer use F2 because even in Windows or your operating system level also you can rename things like that. So this is my lighting level. So lighting level, and then I will double click here and I will be in my lighting level. So here, let's say for a demo, what I will do is first let me take a basic and take one plane. So I pick one plane, press F. So come here and then take a sphere. Let me just scale it. So to scale, what we can do is press R, and to uniform scale, you can just go to the middle of your this gizmo cursor, whatever it is, and then you can just simply up. Here you can see that we are just seeing things in very flat way. There is no, so we have two objects right now, but it's not even visible properly, and the reason is because there is no light here. And let's go and create one single light, which is directional light, and immediately you see what is happening. So we just created two objects, one is plane, one is a sphere, and we just added directional light, and immediately our scene is having shadows and highlights and all this thing. Now it looks like 3D. Okay. So now the thing is, first thing, what is this chat box here? And this chat box, whatever things you are viewing here, this is called grid. Every 3D applications have this grid. So for now, I don't want to display this, so I can go to show and turn off grid from here. So now it is more cleaner. Now my sphere is actually kind of down. What I will do is I will take it up and press end key, END key. And once I will press end key, it will be snapped to the very base in the bottom of your grid, wherever it is. So it's again a very useful tip. Now let's see what are the types of lights we have. Okay, so this one, now what I'm telling you is, this is not just specifically to Unreal Engine. It is applicable to all 3D applications available. First thing, how many types of lights available? First light type is directional light. So directional light is kind of related to your sunlight. So sunlight in the world. So you can see outside right now there is one sun, and the sun direction coming from one side, and all the shadows are following where the opposite of where the direction of sun is. So directional light is kind of working exactly same like your sunlight. It is in the entire level, in our entire world, it will be act same like it's a same light. Second type of light is point light. So point light is if you are creating a bulb, that is a different story. You can't use a directional light for a bulb. I mean, yes, you can, guys, nobody is stopping you. But the thing is, the effect that you want to achieve, that will come from the point light. Then there will be a spotlight. So most of the time when you want to create light in a cone angle shape. So for example, let's say you want to add a light in front of your car. So in front of the car, if there is a light and you need to create the light beams, I guess spotlight will be a good option to use there. Okay. Then there will be a rect light here, and rect light is your area light where you will get a shape, and that shape will be emitting light. So if you want to create a light coming from outside, so this is the real example. Let's say if you want to create this room scene and you want to lit this properly, what you can use is you can use an area light of this much size, and then the light which is coming in this room, that will fulfill that area. So that is one thing that we can use. Now we have here is and one thing, rect light here is typically called area light. Most of the other 3D applications call this light as a area light. Now we have a skylight, which is a ambient light. and other application they call it ambient light, but here it is skylight. We will see all this, how this works. Okay, so we just added a directional light here, and this is, I would just leave it, I'm not renaming that, so basically you will understand in the end of this like what is what. Then we will use a point light, and point light is coming here, and as I just picked the point light, you can see the directional light is having a sun icon and point light is having a bulb icon, because they know the somebody who is creating this bulb, maybe they are using this for bulb, and also it will give you a better visualization while you are working in your scene. So let me just scale it more, and let me just scale this also. Press W, move it up, press end. Okay, so now we have two lights. One is this point light, and point light and both lights are same. So first thing is, how do I change the color? So let me change the color. You can go to the details tab and press F to come here. Let's go to the details tab and go to select the light color and change this color to something like red. Once you change this color to red, and then you can increase the intensity, and intensity is how much this light should emit. So now you can see, now this light is emitting, and this is the way that you can create the light and their color. Now let me add spotlight and we'll see what is spotlight is. So I created a spotlight here, and to create the spotlight, let me add a cube here, and so we'll make this as a wall. So I'm pressing R and scaling this. So once I scale this and I just place it here, and this is my spotlight, and let me put my spotlight here on this wall. Press F. So here you can see this spotlight effect on this wall. Okay. Now, one thing that you can see, why this wall become black, and that because we have this directional light. And you can just turn off and on your light temporarily. You can see this eye icon in the world outliner. You can just click here and your light will be disabled. So whatever lights is enabled in your scene, only those will be visible. So right now you can see that only red light here, and we have one white light here. These are visible. Now we can just use your rotation tool, so you can see your light. Okay, again here you can come here and change the color as per whatever you want. If you want to duplicate your lights, all you can do is you can select your light, which is my spotlight here, and Alt, you can press Alt and duplicate. So it will duplicate, and you can change this color to something like yellow. And if you want more duplicate, you can use, so right now what I did is I did Alt and move. I can use Control W, and that will make a new light on the same location. And I will change this color to something like blue. And now I will create another, there's another way to create this light is, I will press Shift, Alt, and then click. So now entire scene is moving, and I can just take this light to somewhere here and change this color to something like blue. Okay, so with that way you can create multiple lights, and it's not applicable to the lights, it's all the softwares, it's all the objects that you are having inside your scene that can be created very easily in that way. Okay, so now let me just turn on our directional light again. So to turn on, you can just simply click here and that will be back. Why this cube is actually dark, and there is what is the reason? So we'll just select the directional light, and we go to this and press E, and let's just type, let's just rotate this light. So since we start rotating, and we can see that immediately. So this was black because there was no ambient light. So ambient light is the light which is always available. Or this light is always available. So once there is a sun from here, and then there is a bounce light and the global illumination coming. That's a completely different concept. But still there are some areas. If there is a one direction, if light is coming from one direction, it is there's no way that one side will be total dark. There will be some sort of light will be available. It's not like complete dark. It's not like dark. Even in night time when you go outside, it is not 100% dark. There are some sort of lights, like maybe lights coming from sky, lights coming from maybe a moon, or maybe some in distance some lights are glowing, or maybe some cities glowing, and that is illuminating the sky, or maybe the clouds, and that will that light will come. So it's like an ambient light that is missing in our scene, because here we have only directional light, and this is the thing that we need to fix. And how we gonna fix that? Let me just go back to the same location where we had, and our wall is black right now, and we need to fill that. How we can fill this? So as I told you, to fill that we have a skylight, and skylight act like a ambient light. Let me just drag and drop here. So I just placed the skylight here, and even after I place the skylight, I don't see any difference here. And the reason for this is, I need to tell my directional light that, hey, I need to tell the direction light to actually, hey, get some atmosphere. So we also need some atmosphere, then only the skylight will work. So let me add one atmosphere here, then it will be much more sense to actually use all this stuff. So how you will get the atmosphere? You can go and get the sky atmosphere. But even you put the sky atmosphere here, it is not going to affect until in your light, in your spotlight, you go and search for atmosphere. So see, in your attribute editor, there are a lot of attributes available. Okay. And in these attributes, you can anytime go and search things. So for example, let's say I want to search for atmosphere. Sorry, it should not be in the spotlight. It should be in the directional light. So here we will search for atmosphere. And here there is an option called atmosphere sunlight, and you can just simply check this. So once you check, you will see a sky will appear, and like your real sky, blue, and there is some horizon, and also you will see stuff like that. Now if you change the direction, rotation of your direction light, you see your sky will change. You see. So now it like evening feel is coming, and here is your sun is also visible here. So now it's completely night. Now it's day. Okay. So even if it is day, this side is completely dark here right now. Now we'll go to our skylight, which we created, skylight, and let me clear this. And there is an option here called intensity scale. So we need to increase this to something like 5 or maybe 2. Yes. So all the front side which is coming is fine, but all the back side is glowing because of our skylight. So let me just reduce this intensity scale to 1.5 or maybe 1.25. And you can also change the intensity color to something like more a different color. So it's up to you. It's all your creative call, like what exactly you want to do. So since you need to understand how light behave, how light's principle works, one thing that you can see constantly in your scene is it's showing, hey, you need to build this lighting. And what is this? And to understand this build process, you need to understand the mobility settings of lights. Okay. The concept of lighting, rendering, camera setups is very wide. And to cover everything in 1 hour is it's close to not possible at all. So maybe you see my speed is a bit higher and you are seeing a lot of things which is might be confusing, but what my recommendation is, please note down all the words which you feel like okay you did not understand it properly. This video call or this session will be recorded and available for your record. You can anytime go and watch this as many times as possible. So it doesn't matter. So you can just pause and understand. You can go search and that will be helpful for you for future reference. Okay. Now come to the mobility settings of lights. Whatever lights you are selecting here. So for example, let me go to the world outliner and let me select light. Every lights in their transform section, you will see the settings mobility. And this mobility is having the three options. One is static, stationary, and movable. So static means you are telling to the engine that this light will not move anywhere. It's here and here itself. That's it. So in that case, Unreal Engine will store all this light information in light maps. So light map will be generated and all this information like shadow, highlights, intensity, all this color information that will be stored in the file, the cache file or the light map file, which will be very fast for you to render your scene during playing the game. In opposite to that, there is another mobility setting which is movable. Movable is completely opposite to the static because you are saying my light will move in the game. So let's see one example. So if you are creating a game and in that game there is a building and in that building suppose there is some lights which is on the top of that building. Okay, or maybe there is some light on the billboard which showing some advertisement. So that billboard will be there, the light will be there, and nobody is actually going to that billboard to see or to interact with that, right? So that means you are sure that your light will be fixed there. You can choose static light, no problem. But let's say you are creating a light, for example, your car is having a light. And if your car front light is having a light, that means your car is moving, your lights is also moving. So that you can't do static. Otherwise, you won't get the shadows. You won't get the specular. You won't get the shadows from that light. So you can't bake that, and you can't predict that your car is going where in which direction. If you have a car, you can go in any direction, and wherever you go, your lights will go. And wherever your lights go, shadows will go. So that needs to be mobile. The mobility needs to be movable. In between, there is a stationary. So stationary store some data and also calculate some data while during the play. So for example, like intensity, color information that can be changed while during the play or during the runtime. Okay, so movable is 100% movable, stationary is 50%. I would say the medium performance you will get, and static is basically you will get 100% performance, but nothing is dynamic. So as you can say, it's static and dynamic. Okay, now it's your choice which one you will pick in your game. So let's see one example. Let's say if we change, you can see this sphere. Let's go closer to this sphere and see this. Can you see this preview here? Okay. So in this shadow, we can see it's written preview. And there is a reason for that. Wow. So preview, because we select this sphere, and if we change it to movable, no, sorry, the light, the the directional light, change it to movable. So once we change our light to movable, that means there is no preview. That means they know that, okay, you are going to change this light anytime. So I'm not going to save anything. But since I will change it to stationary, that means it's saying, boss, your light is just showing the preview. It's not the final one. Or to fix that, this error is showing here. It's saying, boss, you need to build the lighting because you are using stationary and your lights is not built properly, and I'm just showing you is like 50% or little bit of what you are actually going to see. So you need to build the light. So that's a concept. Now the thing is, if you make it movable, that means there is no concept, finish. But still it's showing the light needs to be rebuilt because there are other lights. Let me just close this, and since now I have closed all this, now only 2 lights needs to be built. So skylight, close, point light, close, and directional light. So all the time when you can come here and lights, you can search, filter your lights very easily here. So now we have only directional light here, and that needs to be rebuilt. Let's just go and to build that lighting, and to fix that, what you can do is, let me just turn on everything. So that means now it's showing 10 lights need to be built. You can go inside this toolbar, you will see this build. Click here and build lighting only. Click there. So once you click, a swarm agent will be opened, which will be here. Here you can see this swarm agent, and this will do your building process in the backend. Once that will be built successfully, your lighting will go on and there will be no preview icon. So that means your light is properly baked. Okay. So now let me just clear this filter. Here we go, and much more better shadows. Again, let me change it to stationary back, and even if I'm changing back to stationary now, sorry, my directional light, change it to stationary, I will see the preview again. So anytime whenever I change to stationary or static, this lighting needs to be rebuilt will appear. If I change it to movable, it will gone, because if it is movable, that means you don't need to rebuild. Simple. Clear? Okay. Now these settings is all, available on all types of lights, so it's not specific to directional light. Now the thing is, we'll go to the intensity. Intensity meaning like your how much bright your light will be. So right now the skylight which is coming, let me just delete the backlight, which is kind of weird. So the light is coming from the back. Okay, so light is coming from the back and I need to make it more brighter. So to make it brighter, you need to change the intensity. Right now it's 10. Let's make it 50, and you can see that it's getting brighter. Or you can just make it 1, so it is getting darker. So with that, you can just play around and make the intensity bright and black, whatever you want. So now it is 5. Let's just keep it 10. Or if anytime if you change it to some value which you want to go back to the default value, you can just simply click on back, reset to default. So there is a yellow icon available which is reset to default. You can click here and then it is done. Okay, now the thing is, we have this source angle, just leave it. We have the color. So color, you can change the color of your light, whatever color you want. So, okay, so with that you can change the color. Let me hit cancel, so it is not going to change the color. Then we'll see this rendering. So rendering visible means is this light will be visible or not. So sometimes you don't need to hide, but it is helpful when you want to animate things in blueprints, and which we will cover in our next class, where I will show you if you want to create an actor which is going nearby to the light, and that light will be turning on, or maybe a button when they press something, then a light will illuminate. So that is we'll go through the game section, and that will. So light mask, you can see this light mask settings, and light mask is a GI. It's handle all the global illumination in Unreal Engine 4, and in Unreal Engine 5 Lumin is there, so which is kind of very powerful these days. And we'll cover this in our next sessions, next classes, like where once we will start Unreal Engine 5. But for now, light mask is very helpful in terms of when you are calculating the GI values. Where it is? Okay. So light shaft. Wait. Okay. So after light mask, then we'll get the light shaft, and light shaft. Is this like? Do you guys know what is light shaft? Anyone know? No. So light shaft is basically when you are in a dark room and there is a light coming from one area, then you will see a pattern is coming from the windows. So that is called light shaft. So that kind of that kind of look you can mimic here. Then light is coming in from the windows, something like that. Okay. So I guess these are the settings which is mostly you will use, and then let's just come to the another point, which is our camera, because we are almost reaching to the end of this session and we need to cover all these things. So to add the cameras, all you have to do is you need to go to the cinematic section and you will see the camera. Press W, F, and here we go. So here you see in the right side camera, you can create camera rig, camera rail, camera actor, level sequencer actor. Let's just pick one by one and we'll see what exactly is this. So this is basically your camera rig crane, and rig crane, if you don't know what is rig, so this is basically the actual rig which is used on the camera film set. So whenever you are using like a jib or a techno dolly or techno crane, then this is something like that. So you can place your camera there and you can play around with the same settings. You will have a camera rig rail. So this rig rail is basically having a kind of a curve, and that will a rail you can define here. So for example, let's just select this curve. Control. So basically this rail will create this is weird. Okay, but most of the time you won't use this, so because you are going to just placing your actor here, and then there will be a cine camera actor. So cinema camera actor is this actor, and this is having all the functionality of cameras that you are having in real world cameras. Most of the camera settings, they are mimicking that. So we'll go through that. And level sequence actor, that we will create once we will animate that. So just a minute, let me just delete all this stuff that we created, which is like camera rig crane and rig rail, and most of the time you will just use a cine camera actor and press. So first thing is we want to look through this camera. What you can do is go to perspective and look through the cine camera actor. So the cine camera actor is the name of this camera. We can rename this camera to something like my camera. So press F2 and use my camera. So once you use, sorry, we are spelling mistake, and my camera. Okay. So once we have this, then we can view things from our camera. So since we are in the end of our video and we want to show you more, so it's better to open a real scene where you will see things better, and we'll set the camera, we'll make the render, we'll render it out MOV, and we are done. So let me just go and open a pre-created project, which is this train subway modular, which is very interesting project. Let me just hit save and open that. So once that is opening, what you are going to do is, it's a scene, it's like already a metro train is created, and we are going to put a camera, and we'll just simply zoom the camera into the scene and we'll see. So this is the pre-built scene, and again we can press G to enter in G mode, and we can navigate through this camera, and there's nothing complicated here. It's the same Unreal Engine, the same viewport which I showed, and you can see this awesome artistic work which is created by and it's available on marketplace, so you can view, you can browse that this thing. So let me just make some more spaces for me. So this is complete 3D scene, and to see that, you can just simply go to Let me just open the new viewport. You can open the viewports, viewport 2, put it here, and let me close this viewport. Okay, so here you can see it in unlit mode, so only textures will be visible. You can see in the wireframe mode, so only the 3D models will be visible. You can see the detail lighting. So in detail lighting will be you just take base material with the normals, and you will see the lights, and you will see the lighting only. That means your normals, the object normal textures will not visible, and then you will see the reflections. So that means the only reflections will be visible. And I guess there are some others which is optimization view mode, and we will have a dedicated class of how to optimize the unreal scenes. And but just to showing you, let's say if you are creating a lot of lights, so make sure you are using the stationary light overlap. So with this is the advanced tools which will show you like, okay, is it your scene is good or bad or something wrong in your scene, so it will show you. So this is good tools for visualizing your scene. Okay, come back to the lit mode, and let's create a camera. Without going further, let's go cinematic actor, cine camera actor. I just place my camera here. Let me rename this camera to main camera. So I will put F2, put main camera. So I will put a main camera here, and then I will go to perspective, place camera, and select my main camera. So you can see there are lot of other cameras available. It's not like in one scene you can have one camera. You can place 20 camera, 30 camera, whatever cameras, how many cameras you want. So it's fine. You can select this main camera, and immediately you will see your camera will be visible with the scene is visible now. Now what I'm going to do is I will select and choose the default viewport and select that camera again. So then I will get the more control. Now if I navigate through this camera, that means I'm changing my main camera. Let me press G, so all the stuff will be disabled. Okay, so let me come to this part and let me set some few settings for my camera. So here you can see in the details tab, what is your focal length. So focal length is if you want wide angle, if you want zoom, so it's all about that. So in real world cameras, 35 mm camera which is used most of the time, so that's why this is the default setting. But you can change it up to very low angle, so it will showing you the wide effect, or you can just bump it up to the number whatever you want, so you can get the zoom effect. The more this number you bump, you will get the better shallow depth of field, but the lesser you will get this, then you will get that, like you will reduce the depth of field. And whoever who don't know what is depth of field is, like your background will be blur in the back, right, if you're using that. So let's just keep it 35, and that's a pretty nice value here. And let me just go to the some other settings, which is, let's say if you want to setting up the depth of field, you can set here, or maybe you can just use track. So now look at tracking, you can track that, enable all these options will, once you have the character animation, then you can do this. But for now we just need to make a cinematic camera move. For that we don't need to use the look at because that is more for the character movement, and you want your camera shoot follow to the character. Let's just go out and just find out a nice place where you can actually store that. So I see there is a glass here. Okay, so I guess we will start our camera from here. Okay, yeah, something like that. We will start our camera from here. We will enter like that, and so that means a character is coming, and we will end our camera here. So that's what we need to achieve. So we place our camera, cine camera actor, and after that what we have to do is we need to go to cinematics and create new level sequencer. Once you create new level sequencer, that means it's basically your shot, or it's basically whatever your scene type or whatever thing that you are doing. So let's say this is my shot 001. It's better to actually put your naming convention in a way so you can actually easily put inside master sequencer. Here we have two types of sequencer here. One is level sequencer, one is master sequencer. Master sequencer where you can actually add most of the all the label sequencer in one row, and you can make a proper lineup of all your scenes. Okay, so here I will just add my camera, which is my main camera. Let me select this main camera, drag and drop to my sequencer. Once I put to my sequencer, let me just turn on the cinematic viewport. So once I put the cinematic viewport, I will see some other player and other options, and this is my camera right now visible. I can just simply play, but nothing will happen at this time. What I have to do is I need to see some values. So right now my timeline is 269 frames. I can change it from here. What I have to do is I can just simply come here and make it 240. So this will be a 10 seconds. I will using to 24 seconds. I'm going to use 24 seconds per frame. So in that case, 10-second video will be 240 frames. So then my animation will be start from -15, and my current is 240, should be 240. So let me just make it 240. Like everything is sorted. Now let me just stretch my shot to up till 240. So that is also fixed. Now anytime you can zoom in, zoom out. It's like if you are using any timeline based system, which is like After Effects or any editing software, this is the same thing. Sequencer is having that same. So now the thing is, this is my first frame which I want to add, and you can also change and move, and you can place your camera whatever you want. So this is the way that you are seeing, and I just press the right click to see that. So I want my camera to be start from somewhere here, and so what I have to do is I just drag already, and I need to go here in this section, and in this we will add a key. So you can just press here, click here to add a key. Once you have a key here, and then go all the way to the 240 frame, but you can go from here, and also you can go to the end. So here these options are also very handy, where you can just go until the end, and here you will go until the start. So we need to go to the end, and here now I press right click and I'm playing my camera. So I'm playing my camera, I'm going front. What is happening? Okay, something went wrong. It depends on the camera speed. Right now I put it 2, so that's why it's going slow. So let me just entering in my scene. So I'm entering and something like that, and I stop here, and then I click a key again here. So once I have 2 keys, and I can just simply go back, and something wrong. So I need to just simply select and delete my key. And this is my first frame. I need to go back to the end. I again right click and okay. So what is the problem is we already reached to the end of this frame. So we need to go to the first frame and go back to the this location. Something like this. Okay. So now let me key it again, go back to the last frame, and then go inside this train. So now I'm coming inside this train, and until whatever frame you want, so you can just stop here, somewhere here, and then press the key again on this transform you are keying. So now let me just go back and hit play. So once I'm hitting play, and now you can see my camera is moving, and I will get this video. But one thing that you will notice, my camera is starting in front of me. It's not a continuing camera. So I can see the ease in and ease out effect. So to fix that, it's very simple. You can see this curve editor. You press the curve editor, open the main camera, transform. So once you click there, you will see there is a curve available here. And in this curve, what you have to do is you need to select this curve, especially this one, and make it auto and use it something like this. or maybe just select this both and right click and make linear. So once you select linear, then let's see how your camera looks like. So go back to the first frame and hit play. So now it's starting in the same speed and ending in the same. So there is no ease in and ease out. There is no easing. So it's like some character is walking and it's reaching to this place. Okay. So with that, you can create a object, animated object. And now this is the time to actually, let's say if you are happy with your scene, then you feel like, okay, yeah, this is the camera angle, I need to lock it. Also, right now it's just going in a way like, okay, it's just going straight forward. You can change, you can add some in between keys also in this. So let me add in between keys here, and let me, at this time, the camera will be viewing downside and it will move little bit down and then it will come up. So then I will put another transform key here, and now let's see. So now it's adding some more drama. So it's going down, and then in the end it will again coming up. So it's completely your call, like how you want to animate the camera, what is the scene requirement. And you want to see this on the full screen, you can press F11. Sorry, F11, I guess. Yeah, okay, my keys are actually broken, but with that way you can actually see that. So for now, let's say, okay, this is our camera and we are done with that. Now we need to render it out. We need to create a movie, so we can just upload it to YouTube or wherever it is. So this is our finished content. What we can use, how we can render this. We can select this, go back to the sequencer, and in the sequencer you can see this, render this movie to video. You can just click on this. First, let me just simply select nothing. By default, this option will be selected, video AVI. So here you can select the image output. Now here you can select the resolution. What is the quality you want? You want 4K, you want HD, you want simple. So let's say we'll select HD. And compression, you want to make a smaller file or bigger file. The bigger file size, more quality, but the smaller file size, the quality will be down. So you need to understand this part. Compression you want to add. The general output directory is where your output, your items, your final output will be saved. So basically it will be a saved folder in your project location. We'll see in a minute once we'll create that. So we just change it just to HD and select AVI and capture MOV. So now once you hit capture MOV, it will save and it will show you a little preview window. And once this is done, and it will take a couple of minutes, a couple of seconds. It's all depends on how much powerful your system is. So if you have decent system, and it will just play once and it's done, and it will show you open capture folder. So this is my capture folder, and I can just simply double click on any player and my movie is ready. Okay, so that's, you can see that how easy it is to create stuff in Unreal Engine and create your own dramatic scenes in Unreal. So this is the output coming from Unreal, but in most of the time this is not the final output, because now let's say if I want to place some of my character here, or if I want to add some color correction or doing some, so I need to render passes out of Unreal Engine. So that is the one which we will do. So in how that will possible, so to get that, what you have to do is, instead of selecting the AVI, what you can do is custom render passes. Once you select custom render passes, now you will see add render passes. What's up? Okay, so now we'll add the custom render passes. Here you can see there are multiple options available, like ambient occlusion and all this stuff. For demo, we'll see base color, scene depth, and world normal, and the final image. So final image is this. So let me just simply render this again. And one thing I want to show you, so whenever you want to render, this is a quick tip, is make sure your output directory, you should use the file name tokens. File name tokens is like your variable name in your paths, and which will help you to organize your render. Otherwise your renders will be scattered in your directory. So this is, you can find out in the render movie settings, you can find out in the documentation page of Unreal Engine. And this is the file name tokens. So what I want is, I want that every my all render to be rendered in a proper folder passes. So I will, what I'm going to use is short. Let me just use short. So where is the general output directory? After video capture, I'm going to put short, and see it's in the curly brackets. So the same thing that you can see this. So whatever these tokens you will use, a new folder will be created based on that. Okay. So interesting. And also I'm going to use material, because I want every passes to be put it in a separate path. So let me just put inside my short and material. Okay. So let's capture the movie. So right now my movie capture is started, and let me go to the same folder, video capture folder, and here you can see shot one. This folder created, and inside shot one, base color, scene depth, all the passes are properly organized. And inside, if I want to see the final image, I can see all the final images here. See, this is, so you can open here, and this is the final image. But let's say, let me open a image viewer, and this is an interesting player, just free and open source DJV images. Let me just drag and drop the final image, clear. See depth. Okay, so this is the depth pass of my scene, and most of you, if you are not familiar with depth pass is used for adding the color correction in your scene based on the depth, or maybe adding blurring the stuff in the back. Maybe you can just increase the gamma to see what exactly this this looks like. So you can see this is basically the back side is bright and the front side is black. So that's what the scene depth pass will work. And if I want to see that only the normals, world normals, you can easily see the normals here. So this is the normals. It's useful, very useful for lighting purposes and color correction purposes. We'll have a separate session and dedicated class only on the how we can handle the render passes inside Unreal Engine and how we will do the final comp. So this is the this is the base color, and the base color is basically all your textures without lighting and all this thing. So you can see how this flat looking stuff, but you want to see the final product, you can immediately go. So that's why we render also a final product, which is our shot one final image, and this is our image, and this is, you can play here and you can see the stuff here. And also, so it's all depends on what is your level of quality that you are picking. Anytime you can go to any image manipulation softwares and you can play around, bump it up, the transformation, contrast, saturations, and all this stuff. So with that you will get the desired look easily. Okay, so yes, it's we reached to the end of this class, and let me quickly recap what we did. We just gone through the user interface overview. We learned the types of light, which is directional light and point light, area light, which is our rect light, and skylight. Okay, and we check various settings of light, which is the mobility settings. We also go through the types of cameras, where we use the Cine camera actor. We check the render settings, and we see the finished render movie. One of the most important tip that I want to give you in the end of this video is, let's open the Unreal Engine again. Right now when we hit render, you see this render movie setting, but there is another method to render a movies. Sorry. there is another method to render movies, and which is highly recommended for the film production. So this is one way to render. Extremely sorry that I just did not cover firstly. So by default it will not enable. What you have to do is you need to go to edit plugins and here search for render. So once you search for render, then you will see movie render queue. Once you click on movie render queue, hit enable, and you need to restart your engine after enabling that. So once I restart that, our engine will start and a new menu in render settings will appear, and that is one of my favorite. Okay, where is engine? Shit. Let me open again. So whatever plugins you enable, that is only enable for that particular project itself. It will not enable for all the projects. So make sure that if you are using the plugin which is not available for all machines, so that means you should organize it properly. Now let me go back and open our sequencer again. So this is my short one sequencer, and if I go hit render, now I am seeing render movie queue. So this is different window. This is not that window where we see the passes and all this stuff, right? But you want to see that window. So what you have to do is beside render button, there is another movie scene capture legacy. If you click that, and if you click, then the render movie settings will appear. Other than that, what you have to do is you can go render movie render queue. Once you click that, hit render, all you have to do is go to, so it will basically add all your sequencer in your scene, and it will show you the settings and the output of your file where it is going to be rendered. That output, previously the output goes to the video capture, this output goes to the movie render. But this is not just a difference, the difference is here. So here you can have control over what kind of file path you want to add. So let me add a EXR sequence. So once we'll add the EXR, we can render directly EXR, and it's showing the, okay, what you want to render. You want to use the deferred rendering. Yes, definitely we want to go with deferred. There is two types of rendering in Unreal Engine. One is deferred rendering and another is the forward rendering. And you know, most of the time you see deferred rendering in the projects, but forward rendering is mostly used in the VR projects. Let me show you some of the quick documentation on forward rendering, so you will get some better understanding of how that works. Unreal Engine documentation is a very good place where you can understand all this stuff. Let me just say forward render. So once you hit forward render, and just it will showing you the forward shading renderer. Forward shading renderer, and let's just quickly open in Unreal Engine. So this is like a common. You should know that, okay, which one you should use. So forward shading you can enable in your project in the project settings, but deferred is already enabled, and it's enabling multi-sample anti-aliasing. But it's not just multi-sample anti-aliasing, it's also support temporal anti-aliasing. So MSAA and TAA, this supports both. Okay, and TAA preferred because it's removed the geometric anti-aliasing. So here's basically you can see the comparison. So basically definitions and all theories you can read, but see the practical here. So see the difference here. So this image and this image, in the edges, if you can see here, this edges is very important, and performance. So basically the supported features. So come back to our point here. So we use deferred rendering here, and in that deferred, click on this accumulate include alpha, and that is also required you to restart your setting. And then okay. So once you want to add alpha, you need to go to the project settings to actually enable that. So it is Unreal will telling you that, hey, if you want to render a included alpha, then you need to go to project settings, rendering, post processing, and enable alpha channel. So just follow what Unreal is saying. So go to the project settings, and you can directly go to the steps which they are saying, that go to rendering, post processing, enable alpha channel, or you can directly come here and search alpha channel and see this option is coming. So currently it's disabled. All you have to do is you need to select whatever you want. So let's just select linear color space only, and then we need to restart. So whenever you change any project settings, your Unreal Engine will restart. Okay, and you should do it, because then the settings will be properly applied to the engine. Okay, and this is weird. Okay, so now it is including alpha in all the files that we have, all the textures we have, and whenever you enable this, your entire scene will be recompiled, and that is what is going on here. And this is gonna take time. This is gonna take 15 to 20 minutes to actually complete that. So, but anyway, so that's the thing that you need to add. Use movie render queue for better anti-aliasing. That is highly recommend. If you are in a VFX production, use movie render queue instead of legacy renderer. And so that's what the enough. And if you have any questions, you can anytime comes to me. You can watch this video. And in our next classes, we will definitely go through more interesting stuff. And when we will cover the cinematic projects, and that time we will learn how you can add these sequencers and cameras within your levels and make some more interesting games. So here is the end of this class, and I want you to actually, if you have any questions, you can ask me now. Yes.
So what if parent and child will select 300 of that?
Okay, parent and child. Okay. So, in 3D world, what is happening is, sometimes there is a situation where there is one object is moving and you need to attach one other object to that. So, for example, let's say if I am a character in the game, I am a character and I am holding this bottle. Okay, so I'm going and holding this bottle with. So this is a separate asset. This is a separate asset and I'm a separate asset. In game, I'm a skeletal mesh and this is a static mesh. So skeletal mesh which is moving in the scene, and a static mesh which is just static, as it's mentioned in that, which is the static. So now it's like this bottle, you need to attach it to me, and here you need to make that parent-child relationship, because wherever I will go, this bottle will go. But if this bottle will go, I will not, because this bottle cannot go anywhere. It's a child. So it will behave like a child and parent relationship, like that. Okay. Yes.
Can you make each between light? If we have two lights, for light and directional light, can you make link between them?
Yes, obviously you can. So see, lights basically in your scene, you can even change the per object property, per light property. So you can just simply go to the light mask settings of the object, and then you can say that how light should behave. What is the light mask setting for each object? So that you can do. Yes.
Can we have shortcut key for camera add in our viewport?
Okay. So by default, there are a lot of shortcuts available, but you can anytime go to the engine. Let me see if it's okay. It's almost there, 72%. So you can go to your engine project settings, engine settings, and you can create a key map. So you can create your own custom keys also. Yes, you can create. Okay. Yes.
Why are the user paying for lighting and other software available in market?
Okay, so the advantage of using Unreal Engine is what I would say is it's like a real-time capabilities. So whatever things that you are doing. So if I compare with Maya, so in Maya, if I start adding lights in Viewport, to see the final result, I need to every time hit the render button, and then only I will see. And even though they are using Viewport 2.0, 3.0, but it doesn't even reach to a level where Unreal Viewport can show you in real time. So that means I can tweak the light setting faster. I can iterate in my scene faster. I can visualize my scene better. I can use which light setting, which shadow, softness, and how my light interact with other objects. Not even this, even how global illumination works in my scene. So I simply, there is no render button. Otherwise, I need to go through even IPR render, or every time I hit render, or maybe just a real time render. In that is super expensive. So offline, so it's a difference between offline rendering and real time rendering. So Maya and other software, I won't compare with one single software. I will compare with multiple softwares. Unreal is having a lot of advantage over them. So as a creative perspective, we save a lot of time in Unreal Engine, and our product will be much more better. And there is one more probability that you can do is you can get more real-time assets. I mean, in realistic assets in your scene, and then you can place the lights, and you will see more realistic lighting in the viewport of Unreal Engine. Okay, right. Okay, good. So, okay, so thank you very much for your time. And this is if you have any questions, you can anytime you can email to me, rajiv@hqvfx.com. And our HQVFX Academy, we are going to start more and more advanced level topics on Unreal Engine. So next topic will be blueprints, introduction to blueprints in Unreal Engine, and we will cover all Unreal Engine, introduction to the blueprints in Unreal Engine. That will be a very interesting video for you and interesting class for you basically. And this videos sessions which is we are recording, you can see especially in our internal drives of HQVFX. We are not going to publish this outside HQVFX. So just enjoy these videos later. Okay. Thank you guys. Okay.